What's going on, everybody? I'm Alfredo Brown here with Football Guys, and I'm talking to you about 4 running backs that I think should, or probably could, absolutely crush their ADP this year. Let's get started.
Perfect.
All right, so the first guy I want to talk about, it's kind of a dirty word in fantasy football at this point to say the name Clyde Edwards-Helaire. But the running back from Kansas City, he is the running back 28 in ADP right now. And I know. He burned a lot of us last season and the season before that. And the thing is, he's still a first-round pedigree running back with talent, starting running back in a Patrick Mahomes-led offense. It's kind of hard to give up on a player like that. Now, especially that the cost just looks really good. So amongst running backs that played at least 10 games, he was the running back 26 on a points per game basis. So you already know that even in a bad year, you're kind of getting the cost of ADP, but that's not what you look for when you look for a running back. You look for a guy that's going to absolutely crush the ADP. And that's the point of this video, right? Now, it's possible that he's just an RB3 in fantasy, and that's all he's ever going to be. But we also just found out a whole bunch of things that we did not know about CEH. Okay, he revealed that he was recovering from gallbladder surgery last year. Yeah, gallbladder surgery. I don't know what it is, but it sounds important, and it seems like the recovery was a lot. Apparently, he got all the way down to 160 pounds, missed OTAs, had to get back in shape, had to deal with the stitches and the recovery, gaining weight, all that stuff, and really didn't get to experience training camp the way that other players get to do it. Now, I've never had my gallbladder removed, but any major surgery is quite the recovery. To then come back, have to gain weight, and start getting hit by a bunch of NFL defenders, yeah, it seems like anyone would struggle with that. So I think there's a little glimmer of hope here that he could finally live up to those early career expectations we had for him, but now at a much better average draft position cost. Now, there's these weird rumors going around Kansas City Chiefs training camp that his competition for touches, Ronald Jones, may not even make the roster. I don't know how much I believe that, but if it's even a little bit possible, all of a sudden, Clyde Edwards-Helaire becomes a much more valuable draft pick. Now, in an article by Rob Lorgy of 4for4, he noted that in games where Darrell Williams played 25% or fewer of the snaps, CEH was getting 4.6 targets per game. Now, Darrell Williams is gone. They still have Jerick McKinnon. They've added Ronald Jones, but Ronald Jones is not a pass catcher. They drafted Isaiah Pacheco, who was a very late round player who's not bad and could have some passing prowess as he gets onto the field, but this is really CEH's backfield to lose. Now, if we took the math right on those 4.6 targets per game, we're talking about a player that's going to be getting 78 targets on a season. If he has that potential and he can score some touchdowns running the ball and get a decent amount of carries in what should be one of the league's better offenses, then yeah, Clyde Edwards-Helaire is well worth his ADP at running back 28. Now, the next guy I want to talk about is Ken Walker III. And if you know me, you know I've been talking about Ken Walker a lot, probably ad nauseum, and you're tired of hearing it. But guys, yeah, the rumors are true. He actually has 2 hands and he can catch a football, and he's been doing it in training camp. And oh my gosh, the internet has gone crazy. I just don't buy it that Rashad Penny's going to be healthy, and I get it. We don't want to bank on players getting hurt, but this is different. This is not looking at even 1 season or 2 seasons or 3 seasons. This is a player in Rashad Penny that has started 6 games in 4 seasons. 4 of those 6 games were last year at the end of the year. We all have a little bit of recency bias when we're looking at this. Not to mention, when he did perform, Rashad Penny was going up against some of the league's worst run defenses for fantasy running backs. So yeah, he had the ability to play well and actually finally be on the field because he was healthy. Now, Kenneth Walker, on the other hand, once again, I know everyone's going to make the argument that Pete Carroll doesn't care about draft capital, but it still happened. We can't ignore the draft capital for Kenneth Walker. We can't ignore that Rashad Penny was a free agent for a while. We can't ignore that Rashad Penny may not be on the team next year. Kenneth Walker is their running back going forward. Kenneth Walker is also incredibly talented. Okay, he's a sub 4.4 player. And for those of you who don't know what that means he ran a 4.3 40-yard dash. He's a consistent home run threat every time he touches the ball. And actually, in college, Walker had the most runs of 15 plus yards in all of college football last year. so he may not even need a lot of volume to be highly effective. Now, Walker also led the FBS in yards after contact and forced missed tackles. Over the last 3 seasons, the Seahawks are actually top 4 in run play percentage. I know, it's not shocking. Everyone knows that Pete Carroll likes to run the ball, but that was all with Russell Wilson. Now imagine how much more they're going to run the ball with Geno Lock. There you go, I combined him. Drew Lock and Geno Smith. Man, Geno Lock. Good job, Alfredo. Anyways, comparatively, if you take a look at this ADP for Ken Walker at running back 36, last year, just kind of in the same range of scoring outcomes, Mike Davis was running back 35, a player who did virtually nothing, caught very few passes, and was overall incredibly disappointing while playing 16 games on a bad offense. So once again, this is another player that if Kenneth Walker is as bad as Mike Davis was last year, he could probably give you similar value and just hit exactly what his ADP is. I'm willing to bank on the fact that he will become the sole running back in that backfield. He is much more talented than a guy like Mike Davis or any run-of-the-mill RB3, and Kenneth Walker should and could absolutely crush his ADP next season. Now, the next running back on my list here is Dameon Pierce, Houston Texans running back, and he's being drafted as the RB43. Now, the Texans running back group of Rex Burkhead and David Johnson last season combined for 10.6 PPR points per game last year. It's not great when you think about it, but when you start to look at it, if that was just one player, it would have actually tied Myles Gaskin for the RB25 on the season. Once again, not amazing results, but Dameon Pierce is being drafted as the RB43. And we're talking about a guy that, even if things just kind of go mildly well for him, should be a high-end RB3 or a low-end RB2. Now, it's fair to say, Dameon Pierce should be performing a lot better than those running backs that I listed before, Burkhead and Johnson. Now, Dameon Pierce, he comes to the league with goal line capability. He's an incredible pass blocker, and he's got a receiving skill set that's going to keep him on the field for all 3 downs. The Texans even drafted Kenyon Green, the guard out of Texas A&M, an offensive lineman who is a really, really good run blocker. If you don't believe me, just watch some Isaiah Spiller highlights, and you're going to see Kenyon Green all over it. Now, Marlon Mack is the player that a lot of people question when it comes to the Houston Texans backfield. But once again, just like Rashad Penny, Marlon Mack really hasn't played much football. He's carried the ball 32 times over the last 2 seasons. That's only 32 more than me. Haha. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I just find it really hard to bank on a player that's going to be the outlier, come back from an Achilles injury, and not only just play, but play well. If he's not playing well, I can't imagine that the Texans are going to be taking snaps or taking carries away from Dameon Pierce, a young rookie who has demonstrated a really, really good ability to run the ball. Now, I like Marlon Mack as a talent. I just can't bet on him overcoming that Achilles tear. The last running back on my list is Khalil Herbert for the Chicago Bears, and he's being drafted right now as the running back 51. Yeah, Khalil Herbert. The same guy that in 2020 was better than David Montgomery in yards per carry, yards after contact per carry, missed tackles forced per carry, and Pro Football Focus rushing grade. Yeah, Khalil Herbert outperformed David Montgomery in every single one of those facets. Yet we're still drafting him as an RB5? Seriously? Like, what are we doing? I thought maybe I was the only crazy one in love with Khalil Herbert, but a lot of people are starting to come around to him. Now, the ADP may not reflect that just yet, and now is the time to start to take advantage of this. If you know you're having your draft soon, go after Khalil Herbert before all those articles and videos start to circulate around and more of the training camp buzz starts to get around. Because once preseason hits and Khalil Herbert gets in that field, his ADP is going to skyrocket up. Now, last season, in 4 weeks without starter David Montgomery, Khalil Herbert was the RB18 in points per game, ahead of guys like Javonte Williams, James Conner, and Antonio Gibson, all players that are being drafted as RB2s or better. Now, in those games, he ran for 70 yards in 4 consecutive games. That's consistency. That's value. Now, he also got targeted 10 times. Not anything to write home about, but it's going to add to his PPR scoring. And now there's a new coaching staff in Chicago, a new offensive coordinator in Luke Getsy. He's been able to use 2 running backs effectively in Green Bay. I wouldn't be surprised if we see the same thing here. And I wouldn't be surprised that if this new coaching regime, who does not have ties to Montgomery, who's in the last year of his contract, may see that it's beneficial to start giving Khalil Herbert way more touches. And if for any reason, not hoping for this, but if for any reason David Montgomery does have to miss time, we've seen that Khalil Herbert can be really good when he's on the field. Now, if Montgomery stays healthy and they're splitting that backfield, the ceiling doesn't get to be incredibly high for Khalil Herbert, but he's basically a lock to beat his ADP right now, and he's got the potential to be the 1B in that duo. Thanks for watching this video. Head on over to footballguys.com for more articles and videos just like this about your favorite players, and get ready for draft season.